In our fast-paced and demanding world, the noble act of helping others is often celebrated as the pinnacle of virtue. But what if this selflessness comes at the cost of your own well-being? What if the very act of helping, when unchecked, leads you to a state of exhaustion, resentment, or even despair? Today on Buddhist Mindfulness, we explore the profound wisdom of Buddhism on striking a balance between selflessness and self-care. Through the story of Tenzin, a devoted monk, we unravel the deep truths about the dangers of overextending ourselves and how to find harmony in our acts of kindness. The story of Tenzin, a journey of selflessness. Tenzin was no ordinary monk. Residing in a serene monastery nestled among misty mountains, he was a beacon of unwavering kindness and compassion. Revered by the villagers, he was known for his readiness to help, regardless of the burden or the time of day. His life was an embodiment of altruism, and many sought his assistance, finding solace in his steadfast willingness to shoulder their troubles. Yet, beneath this seemingly boundless generosity lay a journey fraught with unseen challenges and profound lessons. One fateful day, a desperate father appeared at the monastery gates, his young son cradled in his arms. The boy was gravely ill, and the only healer capable of saving him lived in a neighboring village, separated by treacherous mountain paths. Without a moment's hesitation, Tenzin agreed to help. The trek was arduous, the path steep and rocky, but Tenzin's determination was unwavering. Step by step, he carried the child to the healer, ensuring the boy's survival. This singular act of kindness became a catalyst for what was to follow. Word of Tenzin's selflessness spread quickly. Soon, villagers flocked to him with their troubles. A farmer sought his help to repair a broken field, a struggling widow needed food for her family, and countless others brought their burdens to his door. And each time Tenzin said yes. He toiled tirelessly from dawn till dusk with little regard for his own needs. As the weeks turned into months, the demands on Tenzin grew relentless. His morning meditations, once a source of inner peace and clarity, began to falter. His body, once strong and resilient, grew frail under the strain of endless labor. Nights of restful sleep became rare, replaced by fitful slumber filled with dreams of unfinished tasks. His mind, once clear and focused, became clouded with fatigue. One day, while carrying an impossibly heavy load of firewood for an elderly villager, Tenzin's legs buckled beneath him. He collapsed on the path, unable to rise. The villagers rushed to his aid, their faces etched with concern. For the first time, they saw the toll their constant requests had taken on the kind-hearted monk. The head monk of the monastery, a man of great wisdom and compassion, observed Tenzin's plight with a heavy heart. Approaching Tenzin as he rested, the head monk spoke gently but firmly. "Tenzin," he began, "why have you fallen? You have always been so strong." Tenzin's reply was laced with guilt and shame. "I wanted to help others as you taught me, but now I am broken. I do not know where I went wrong." The head monk's response was profound and transformative. "Helping others is noble," he said, "but when your own cup is empty, you cannot pour water for anyone else. To truly serve others, you must also care for yourself. Selflessness must not lead to self-destruction." He explained the delicate balance between giving and preserving one's own well-being. "Imagine a candle," he said. "It can light other candles, but if it burns too fast, it will extinguish before fulfilling its purpose." These words resonated deeply with Tenzin. For the first time, he saw his actions through a new lens. By neglecting his own health and spirit, he had not only harmed himself, but also jeopardized his ability to serve others. He realized that true selflessness required a foundation of self-care and balance. From that day forward, Tenzin adopted a new approach. He began each day with meditation and reflection, grounding himself in mindfulness. He set boundaries, learning to say no when his strength waned. When villagers came to him for help, he listened with compassion, but also considered his own limits. To his surprise, the villagers understood and respected his newfound balance. Tenzin's transformation did not go unnoticed. The villagers, inspired by his example, began to take greater responsibility for their own lives. They saw that by caring for themselves, they could also contribute more effectively to their community. The farmer, who once relied on Tenzin to fix his field, organized a group of neighbors to share the workload. The widow, inspired by Tenzin's resilience, started a small garden to feed her family. The monastery, too, flourished. Other monks, inspired by Tenzin's journey, reevaluated their own practices, ensuring that their service to others did not come at the expense of their spiritual growth. The head monk's teachings on balance became a cornerstone of the monastery's philosophy, guiding generations to come. Years later, Tenzin's story became a cherished tale among the villagers and monks. Children grew up hearing of the kind monk who learned the importance of balance. His journey became a metaphor for the delicate interplay between selflessness and self-preservation, a lesson that resonated far beyond the boundaries of the misty mountains. Tenzin himself remained a humble servant of the community, but now with a deeper understanding of his own humanity. He continued to help those in need, but his actions were imbued with a wisdom born of experience. His cup, once empty, now overflowed, allowing him to pour freely without fear of depletion. The story of Tenzin is a testament to the transformative power of balance and self-awareness. It reminds us that while the desire to help others is noble, it must be tempered with care for ourselves. True selflessness does not demand self-sacrifice, but rather a harmony that sustains both giver and receiver. In embracing this truth, we not only serve others more effectively, but also nurture our own spirits, ensuring that the light we carry continues to shine brightly. Buddhism offers profound insights into navigating the complexities of modern life. By integrating its timeless teachings, we can create a more balanced, compassionate, and fulfilling existence. This essay explores three key concepts: the paradox of helping, the importance of boundaries, and the Buddhist perspective on attachment. 1. The paradox of helping. Helping others is undoubtedly virtuous, but when it leads to self-sacrifice, it can become harmful. Buddhism teaches that even good intentions can cause suffering if not balanced with mindfulness and self-awareness. Example: consider the overworked caregiver who devotes every ounce of energy to caring for others, neglecting their physical and emotional well-being. Over time, this neglect can result in burnout, making them less effective in supporting those they love. Their sacrifice, initially born from compassion, inadvertently generates suffering for themselves and others. Personal insight. Reflect on your motivations for helping. Are you driven by genuine compassion, or do guilt, obligation, or fear of disappointing others play a role? Buddhism emphasizes mindfulness as a tool to examine the roots of our intentions. Understanding these motivations helps us avoid the trap of self-sacrifice while maintaining our capacity to assist others effectively. Practical application. Practice self-compassion as a foundation for helping others. Take time to rest, meditate, or engage in activities that nourish your spirit. This renewal ensures you can provide meaningful support without depleting your own resources. 2. Boundaries as a form of compassion. Setting boundaries is not selfish. Rather, it is a compassionate act that allows us to preserve our energy and focus. By saying no with kindness and intention, we ensure that our contributions remain impactful and sustainable. Example: Tenzin, a school teacher, illustrates this principle. By dedicating specific time for personal studies and rest, Tenzin enhances their ability to mentor students effectively. The clarity and energy gained from honoring personal boundaries translate into more meaningful and supportive guidance for others. Practical tip: assess your capacity regularly. If you find yourself overwhelmed, take a step back to recharge before resuming your responsibilities. Boundaries protect not only your well-being, but also the quality of your interactions with others. Mindful action: communicate boundaries with kindness. For example, you might say, "I'd love to help, but I'm currently at my limit. Let's revisit this later." Such clarity fosters understanding and mutual respect. 3. The Buddhist perspective on attachment. Buddhism teaches that attachment, even to noble causes, can lead to suffering. When we become overly attached to the idea of being a helper, we risk losing sight of our own needs and limits. Example: a volunteer who commits to multiple projects out of a desire to make a difference might find themselves overwhelmed. As resentment builds, their initial joy and purpose diminish, and their contributions may suffer in quality. Insight: true service arises from balance, not martyrdom. By tending to our own needs, we sustain the energy and focus required to support others effectively. This approach aligns with the Buddhist principle of the middle way, a path of moderation that avoids extremes. Practical reflection: regularly evaluate your commitments. Ask yourself, am I taking on too much? How does this activity align with my values and priorities? Do I have the energy to fulfill this role effectively? A balanced approach. Imagine your life as a garden. By nurturing your own space, you cultivate the ability to share resources, seeds, water, and tools with others. Neglecting your garden for the sake of others can lead to a barren landscape for all. Mindfulness is the cornerstone of Buddhist practice. It involves being fully present in each moment, whether during work, leisure, or interactions with others. This presence fosters clarity, reduces stress, and enhances our capacity to respond skillfully to life's challenges. Application. Incorporate short mindfulness practices into your day. For instance, take 3 deep breaths before responding to an email or engage in a brief body scan meditation during breaks. These small actions build resilience and focus over time. Buddhism emphasizes the impermanent nature of all things. Recognizing this can help us navigate change with greater ease and acceptance. Example, consider the loss of a job or a relationship. While initially painful, understanding that all things are transient allows us to find growth and new opportunities in the aftermath. Practice. Reflect on the impermanence of your current challenges. What lessons or opportunities for growth might they offer? Journaling or meditating on this concept can provide clarity and perspective. Metta, or loving kindness, is a meditation practice that involves sending goodwill and compassion to oneself and others. This practice can transform how we relate to ourselves and the world. Example, during a difficult interaction, silently wish the other person well. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you find peace. This mindset reduces conflict and fosters connection. Daily practice. Dedicate a few minutes to metta meditation. Begin with yourself, then extend these wishes to loved ones, acquaintances, and even challenging individuals in your life. Practical steps to integrate Buddhist wisdom. 1. Start small. Begin with one principle, such as mindfulness or setting boundaries, and gradually incorporate it into your routine. 2. Reflect daily. Use a journal to record your experiences, insights, and challenges in applying these teachings. 3. Seek guidance. Consider attending a meditation group or reading Buddhist texts to deepen your understanding. 4. Be patient. Transformation takes time. Celebrate small victories and remain compassionate toward yourself during setbacks. Applying Buddhist wisdom to modern life requires practice, reflection, and patience. By embracing mindfulness, setting compassionate boundaries, and understanding the nature of attachment, we can navigate life's complexities with greater ease and fulfillment. These teachings remind us that true compassion begins within, and by nurturing ourselves, we can create a ripple effect of positivity and balance in the world. Tenzin's story is both inspiring and cautionary. It reminds us of the beauty of compassion, but also its potential pitfalls. As viewers, we might resonate with Tenzin's initial eagerness to help, yet feel the sting of his eventual exhaustion. The lesson here is not to stop helping, but to help wisely. Tenzin's journey began with a pure and noble heart. He saw suffering around him and felt an overwhelming desire to make a difference. This impulse is something many of us can relate to. We've all had moments where we wanted to step in and alleviate someone else's pain, even at the cost of our own well-being. But as Tenzin's story unfolds, it becomes clear that unbounded giving can lead to burnout. His energy dwindled, his joy diminished, and he found himself questioning the very actions that once gave him purpose. The turning point in Tenzin's narrative came when the head monk offered wisdom that shifted his perspective. You cannot save the world by breaking yourself apart. This simple yet profound statement encapsulates the essence of sustainable compassion. It's a reminder that the act of helping should not come at the expense of our own mental, emotional, or physical health. As viewers, this story invites us to reflect on our own lives. How often have we found ourselves in Tenzin's shoes? Have we said yes to every request for help, only to find ourselves stretched too thin? This is not an uncommon experience. Many people feel obligated to give endlessly, fearing that setting boundaries might make them appear selfish or unkind. Yet the reality is that boundaries are not barriers to compassion. They are its safeguards. By knowing our limits and honoring them, we ensure that our acts of kindness are sustainable. Without this balance, we risk falling into resentment or exhaustion, neither of which serve us or those we wish to help. Practical insights for sustainable compassion. 1. 1. Recognize your limits. It's essential to be aware of your own capacity. This includes emotional, physical, and financial resources. Helping others is admirable, but not if it leaves you depleted. 2. Prioritize self care. As cliche as it sounds, self care is the foundation of effective giving. Whether it's through meditation, exercise, or simply taking time to rest, nurturing yourself ensures that you have the energy to support others. 3. Say no when necessary. Learning to say no is a skill. It's not about rejecting someone in need, but about recognizing when you are not in a position to help effectively. 4. Delegate and share the load. Often we feel like we must bear the weight of the world alone. In reality, there's a network of support around us. Don't hesitate to involve others who are willing and able to help. 5. Focus on impact, not volume. Helping fewer people deeply can often be more fulfilling and effective than trying to help everyone superficially. Have you ever felt drained from helping others? How did you regain your strength? This question encourages introspection. It invites us to think about past experiences, acknowledge our feelings, and learn from them. Sharing these reflections can be therapeutic and enlightening, both for the sharer and the listener. Share your experiences in the comments below. Let's learn from each other how to balance giving with self-care. Your story might resonate with someone else and provide the insight they need to navigate their own challenges. Tenzin's story is not just a tale of personal struggle and growth, it's a universal narrative. In a world that often glorifies self-sacrifice, we need reminders that taking care of ourselves is not a betrayal of compassion, but a vital part of it. The balance between giving and self-preservation is delicate, but it's also essential for long-term well-being. Consider the metaphor of a candle. A candle's purpose is to provide light, but if it burns too quickly, it extinguishes before its time. Similarly, our acts of kindness should not come at the cost of our ability to continue giving. By pacing ourselves, we ensure that our light shines steadily and brightly, illuminating not just the present moment, but the journey ahead. The story of Tenzin echoes a universal truth. To truly help others, we must first help ourselves. This wisdom is not a call to selfishness, but a reminder that sustainable kindness comes from a place of strength, not sacrifice. As the head monk wisely said, you cannot save the world by breaking yourself apart. At Buddhist Mindfulness, we encourage you to embrace this balance in your own life. By caring for yourself, you preserve your ability to care for others, lighting the path with a flame that burns bright and steady. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share. Together, let's spread the wisdom of mindfulness and compassion.